What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk to you about Lucid's earnings. I know it's a little bit late, my apologies, and sorry for not streaming it. I'm not at home right now, actually heading home right now, but beside the point. So a lot of people have been posting saying, why did Lucid go down on Friday and blah, blah, blah. So hopefully this will give a little bit more insight to that. So even though I haven't been doing videos, I've been watching what the data points have been signaling. Shorts, for instance, increased the day prior to their earnings around 5 million. And the day post, so on the Friday, shorts returned 4 million. So kind of goes to show that big money was selling. So once again, why did big money sell Lucid's earnings? And why did the recent ratings come in subpar? And you can kind of see a lot of the metrics are improving, not to the same degree as some other EVs, for instance, but they did also lower CapEx. And generally, that shows more of a lack of spending for at least the future, right? So by them lowering CapEx and them ramping up on the Gravity is kind of counterproductive. It doesn't really jive with what Lucid's truly saying. So I think that was a partial issue as well. And like future guidance has always been, I think Lucid's actually failed. So they did essentially beat on their earnings per share and revenue. A lot of other key metrics were improving and very good, but Lucid, I think every single earnings has always sucked on their future guidance. And some people might disagree with me on that, but that's completely fine. But I think this is where I didn't actually listen to the earnings call. I read the transcript. And I think for those of you that maybe did listen to the earnings call, if you take a step back and don't really listen to Peter ramping, like talking on technology and all that stuff, if you just listen and or read the transcripts, it signals Lucid really avoiding those tough questions. And both coming from a retail standpoint, I still think that Paul is an employee. I don't know how 2 of his questions got asked from retail. All of the questions were absolutely horribly answered from retail. So when they asked about how are you improving the stock price, Peter's only thing is, hey, I'm a shareholder too. It's a long-term play. This is what we're doing. I'm not selling. Only reason why I've ever sold is for tax purposes, which he's right. But at the same time, he's ever everyone on the watching this has put in more money essentially than he has. He's not bought any stock itself. So yes, you can kind of spin it that way. I've not sold anything, but you've also not bought anything. So that just talking on just mid-size, all the questions were absolutely crap. And not only that, even though the questions were crap, their responses were equally as bad. And I think analysts honestly are getting very frustrated with Lucid. And you can tell that just based on their follow-up questions. Tobias, and once again, if you're reading through the transcript, you'll see they abruptly ended after Tobias, the analyst. He was going after them hard, especially Gagnon, because he basically said hey, you're talking on these cost-cutting measures for many quarters now. Why haven't you implemented it? And yeah, honestly, hats off to Tobias. Definitely honest, I get it. I really like Lucid, and that's why I still cover them. But I like to play devil's advocate, and if a company is performing very crappily, if that's not even a real word, but anyways, if the stock price is crap and management isn't doing their job, yeah, someone needs to call them out. And all of the analysts, if you actually listen to the questions, Peter did not answer the questions, but all the analysts clearly are just frustrated, and it's okay, thanks very much for whatever you provided or rant about. So yeah, I think just the fact that they didn't guide on anything, Air or Gravity, for next year, or just how they plan on ramping up, or how they even can estimate that someone's going to pay $15,000 more for a Gravity this time around rather than just waiting a year. It's that single-handedly, so their future guidance and just their inability to really answer questions, that is what analysts did really not like. And so one thing that Lucid didn't do, they talked on it, said that we had our analysts go and checked out AMP1, and which is what they mentioned last earnings. They didn't give a date or anything. I would have liked to have kind of found out, but clearly that was probably 3 weeks ago, my guess, only because there was a couple analyst re-ratings at that time, yet no news or nothing like that came out. So it is fair to assume that those individuals or analysts did kind of go to AMP1. Didn't really like it as much because I think they gave $3 and $3.50 ratings. I don't really recall all that much, but regardless, this is a quick summary on exactly why the stock price didn't really go up. So yeah, it is what it is. I think just in theory, Lucid is moving in the right direction, and you can tell that based on all the numbers. Management seems a little bit more confident as well, but those tough questions, they still are not answering. And my apologies if you see or hear kids in the background. In the only quiet area of the airport, and so it is what it is. But yeah, so yeah, what's your viewpoint? Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with Lucid? And generally, what stood out to you from their earnings that maybe was positive as well as negative? Like I said, I know I kind of focused on the negatives, and that's only because a lot of people are wondering why Lucid went down. But like I said, I think they're moving in the right direction. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and with that, appreciate all of you watching.